thanks for tuning in for another video. This is going to be a video about Theobroma cacao, which is a tree. This will be my first non-cannabis related review. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I'm passionate about certain types of plants, especially plants that are active in humans. So this will be my first plant review. I hope you enjoy. So Theobroma cacao, these are my notes right here, so I'm going to be using this as my guide during this video. So Theobroma cacao is a small evergreen tree native to the tropical regions of Central and South America. The fruit of the cacao tree is called a cacao pod, and the inside contains the seeds, commonly called beans. Cocoa beans, as you probably know them, although they're actually called cacao beans. These beans are the main ingredient for chocolate. So the composition of a cacao bean is about 50% fat, the other 50% is solid materials. So cacao beans are rich in alkaloids. An alkaloid is basically a chemical. Some alkaloids are active in humans, which means they provide a response in humans, or you feel effects from these alkaloids. Now there's thousands of different, probably millions of different alkaloids in all sorts of plants, and they're what gives some plants their effects in humans. Caffeine, for example. So cacao is abundant with these beneficial alkaloids, the most common being theobromine. Theobromine can be translated in Greek to food of the gods. Theobromine is somewhat similar to caffeine, but also very different at the same time. It provides mild stimulating effects, increased subjective feelings of well-being, so that means it makes you feel good. It can promote feelings of love and intimacy in many people, and it's the reason why chocolate often makes people feel good after they eat it, especially dark chocolate. There's three main types of cacao trees. Each has its own unique characteristics. The two main types of cacao trees are Forastero. Now, Forastero is the most common due to its hardier beans and resistance to pests. This is the more popular cacao tree, and it accounts for 90% of the world's cacao production. It's basically the industrialized cacao tree. So 90% of the cacao in supermarkets and places where you see cacao products or chocolate is made from the Forastero bean. It's a lower quality bean, but it's easier to produce, which is why it's used. Now, the other type of cacao tree is Criollo. And Criollo, hopefully I'm saying that right, it's actually spelled like Criollo, but it's the most rare and prized cacao due to its higher level of beneficial compounds and more unique taste. It's very rare and accounts for about 3% of the world's cacao, so very rare. Criollo is what is generally used to make ceremonial paste. Now, what is ceremonial paste? I'll get into that a little bit later. Anything you buy at a grocery store, and majority of the stuff that you buy online that is not labeled ceremonial paste is Forastero beans, and it's a lesser quality cacao product. So cacao has been used by the native people in tribes of Mesoamerica for at least 5,000 years, probably much longer than that. That's just the 5,000 years ago where we have the evidence of people using it. We also have evidence of cultivation and domestication as early as 3,600 years ago. So this is a plant that's has a long history here on Earth, and with good reason. These people of the Amazon recognize the beautiful and beneficial properties of the cacao tree, and because of them we have chocolate nowadays, a very unique product in its taste. The unprocessed wild beans of the Criollo tree, remember Criollo is the more rare type of cacao tree, have been ground in a paste and used for many thousands of years as a heart-opening and love-promoting drink in the Amazon in Central America. So these people of Mesoamerica have been using cacao as a ceremonial drink to bring love into their lives. Anyways, what is ceremonial grade cacao? So ceremonial grade cacao paste is made from Criollo beans. So the Criollo beans are harvested by people in Mesoamerica. The beans are sun-dried and slightly fermented, and then the shells or the pods on the beans are peeled away, and the beans are ground up on a stone and compressed into a paste. So they're not processed at all, it's the entire bean, which is what makes it ceremonial grade. Is it's unprocessed and it's the higher quality Creole beans. Majority of cacao products that you find in a store or on the market are the Forastero bean, which is the lesser quality bean, and it's processed. If you buy cacao nibs or you buy cacao powder, that is a processed product. What happens is cacao is 50% fat, like I mentioned. They're pressing the cacao beans, squeezing all of the cocoa, the cacao butter out, and you're left with the solid product, which is turned into nibs or powder. So when you buy cacao nibs or powder, it's been stripped of the fat, which carries lots of the beneficial alkaloids, beneficial compounds that give cacao its wonderful effects. So ceremonial paste is the high quality beans and unprocessed cacao with the fat. So this is, like I said, been used as a ceremonial drink to help promote feelings of well-being, to promote love in people's lives. It makes you feel good, it opens your heart, it allows you to connect with people, which in turn boosts mood and boost your overall sense of well-being here on earth. Anyways, I thought this is a very interesting plant. I've been using ceremonial paste for the past few weeks, just a couple times a week when I feel called to use it. When you use ceremonial paste, you should have respect for it, put intention into what you'd like to get out of the experience of using it. You can purchase this ceremonial grade paste on Etsy, eBay, a couple other websites. I'll post a link of where I got mine. It's like $30 for a pound. Anyways, the next part of this video is going to be me preparing a cacao drink. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And enjoy part 2. What's up, everybody? So now that you know a little bit about cacao, I'm going to show you how you prepare some cacao, or rather how I prepare cacao in a more ceremonial way. So this cacao is, like I talked about earlier, ceremonial grade paste. So it means it's made from the Creole beans, the higher quality beans. This is made in Guatemala, and it's made by Mayan families. I believe this is made by all women. It's non-for-profit. It says 100% of the profits go to the Mayan families who produce this ancestral medicine. I got this on Etsy. This is a 1 pound block, 454 grams. This cost me about $30. The larger quantity you buy, the cheaper it's going to be. But definitely check this company out on Etsy. So I've already used an entire block of this, and I'm halfway through this one. I always like to try a plant a lot of times before I'm actually going to make a video on it. So this is what the actual block looks like. Basically, they grind up the beans on a hot stone and then compress it into a paste, or compress it into a block. So this is like 50% fat, which is all the white, and then 50% solids. So this is what it looks like. I also have cayenne and cinnamon. You don't have to use any herbs or spices. I found that cinnamon and cayenne help to really bring out the flavor of the cacao, and it becomes a tasty drink. Also going to need a scale to weigh out your dose. If you don't own a scale, maybe it's time to become adult and purchase one. I'm just kidding, but you can get a scale for really cheap, and it's probably going to encourage you to use more herbs in your life, which is something that everyone should be doing. Anyways, I got my scale tared out. I'm going to weigh out my cacao now. Now, when you start using cacao, you want to start low and work your way up. Take it on an empty stomach, or mainly empty stomach, and make sure you're drinking plenty of water that day, because it can be slightly dehydrating. A typical dose to start with, I would say, would be like 25 to 30 grams. For some people, it can cause a little bit of upset stomach. For me, it does not. So a typical dose is like 30 grams. If you want a more ceremonial grade dose, you're going to want to use about 40-45 grams. And while I'm cutting this, I'm kind of putting an intention. If I'm using it ceremonially, which I think you should if you're getting the ceremonial grade paste, I'm kind of setting intention while I'm preparing this. You know, cacao, I want you to bring some love into my life and help open my heart. Something like that, whatever your intention for the day may be. And then you just start cutting it. Make sure you have a sharp knife. It can be kind of difficult to cut. Just kind of scrape it off and it flakes off. So I'm probably going to use about 40 grams today. I'm looking to get a more ceremonial grade dose in me. So we will set this here, weigh it out. It doesn't have to be chopped up real finely because you're going to heat up water. A lot of people will make this on the stove on like low heat. You don't want to use real high heat because it can damage a lot of the beneficial compounds and alkaloids that are contained within the cacao. So what I like to do is I have a electric kettle that I can set the temperature to. I set the temperature to about 170, and then I mix the hot water with the cacao really well. It tends to not dissolve completely, but it dissolves enough if you just make it in a mug. You can probably make it on the stove to get it a little smoother and creamier, but I don't mind if it's not entirely dissolved. So we're at about 27 grams. One of these blocks will last you a while. And I wouldn't suggest using cacao every day, maybe just a couple times a week. But if you feel called to use it every day, then absolutely. It'd be a great substitute for something like coffee. All right, that should probably bring me to 40. Oh, a little bit over actually, around 46. So we'll take some out. We'll do 44 grams. 45 grams, that's a great ceremonial dose. Now, what I like to do is, this is great to use before meditation, or great to do before you do something outdoors, something where you're wanting to be more present and just feel good and have that love come out of your body. You know, a lot of people aren't ever really sitting and just doing nothing and feeling their body and feeling the energy in their body and the love in their body. But it can be really beneficial in a lot of different ways that I've found. All right, so make sure you store your cacao in something airtight. Now that I have the cacao, you could say like a blessing before you prepare this, like, you know, please open my heart, let me live my life with love. And what I'll do now is I'll add in just some cinnamon and a little bit of cayenne. Just a little bit. I really like spicy things, so I probably add more than what you would add. You don't have to use any spices though. It's wonderful how it is. Shake it up like that. That's what it looks like. And from there, I'll just go ahead and put it in a mug. And grab you. I will. Oh no. Oh no. What's happening? Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, well, my gimbal doesn't want to cooperate, but I got my electric kettle here. I'll go ahead and set that to 170, and then I'll pour the water into the mug and stir it really well with a fork for probably about a minute until it gets nice and dissolved. So after I do that, I will be back. Okay, so this is what it looks like after you mixed it in with the hot water. I always stir it really well. As you can see, there's like tiny little particles, which don't bother me, but if they bother you, you could definitely do this in like a small pot on the stove. Just make sure to use a really low heat as to not damage any of the beneficial compounds. So this has a pretty bitter taste to it. It's like, you know, pure dark chocolate. So it may take some getting used to the taste. If you can't bear the taste, you can't stand bitter things, you could mix in some cream or some like plant-based milk. to help cut out the bitterness, but I really do like the taste of it just how it is. Obviously, the higher dose you use, the more bitter tasting it's going to be. If you dilute it with more water, it's going to be less bitter. I start feeling the effects of this pretty quick, like within 15 minutes of starting to drink it, and it lasts for maybe 4 hours. It's like a really smooth boost in mood and energy and just feel goodness. Like your body almost feels like a slightly bit euphoric, at least to me. You know, especially if you take a higher dose, and you may feel the urge to like connect with people more than you normally do. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm hoping to be able to bring you some more videos on beneficial plants that I think society could benefit from. Anyways, thanks for watching. Peace.